Hi, Thorey. Thank you so much for making time for us today. Welcome.
Yeah, hello. Gulara. How do you say it? Gulara?
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Perfect. Very nice to see you
Oh,
too. Good morning.
likewise. So, Thorey, can you introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do?
Yeah, so my name is Thorey. Well, full name Thorey Eyrarós Sólrúnardóttir Sigþórsdóttir. I'm from Iceland. It's a mouthful, so Thorey is what I go by.
Thank you.
And my background, or I'm an actress, so I come from a theater and I still play there with my other creative projects. Um, Sometimes I direct, and then I am a voice trainer, teacher. I call myself sometimes a transformational voice and life coach.
Wonderful.
And yeah, so I've been through a long journey, which led me actually through the voice work into studying shamanic healing, which is energy work a lot. And that's me in short, very short.
What an incredible journey. And voice is so important, doesn't it? Like it kind of can become the starting point, the entry point to so many of our imprints and patterns and trauma, because it all kind of can culminate somewhere here and get stuck in terms of our expression.
Totally. What I find so interesting, because what I found out, just to tell you a little bit about how I went into it. So a few years after I graduated from drama school, it was 1991 here in Iceland, I got to know voice work called Nadine George's voice work that went really deep. I know suddenly I was standing there just making a sound and my tears started to
Yeah.
release. No emotion, but it was just releasing something. And I was like, whoa, what is this? So I started to go into her workshop a lot. And in the end, I was teaching it because I was like, you have to know about this, you have to know about this. Because not only I was doing a solo play at the time, and I just heard when I came back from London from her 2-week workshop that like, oh my God, where's this voice coming from? And then it started to affect my personal life. I started to feel changes there
Yes.
also. And so go fast forward, in 2002, my mother dies very sudden.
Mm.
She just was at home babysitting for me. I had a 6-month-old child, or 7, yeah. And so that was a big shock, of
Mm.
course. And what happened there was what became my anchor was the voice work. It helped me. I had a tour planned to England, 2 places, and Finland next summer. This was April, and I still can't believe how I did it. But the voice work helped me sort of sustain my mental health. But what also happened, as you might be familiar with working with traumas, is that when this big trauma happened, all the older ones started to come up. So
Absolutely.
this was a beginning of a very long journey,
Mm.
which I just sort of, like last year I felt, or actually I went to Peru and felt I came home, and then I've been sort of building up from there. But alongside this, the voice has been my anchor. I have been giving the work to people. At one point, I met this woman, Patricia White Buffalo, who is a shamanic teacher, teaches her own method. She's a Native American, and she came to Iceland, gave a workshop, and was introducing a 3-year-old study with her. And that was because when you do the sounds,
Mhm.
you start to become like a shaman. So I'd gone so deep into it, it was like a very, very obvious next step when I met her. And
Yes.
that was a very transformational and mixing, and there we use the voice also, of course. And in the end, and then I also became a coach
Mhm.
working with Susie Ashworth, infinite receiving coach. I was in her first container when she started to teach that. And mixing all this has become a very, very powerful method. It's sort of, for the last 2 years, I've been sort of weaving and sort of it's becoming something that is working together. And I see people really transform when I'm applying it. But back to the voice, it is the bridge between the heart and the brain.
It is. It absolutely is. Yes. And it also
And
expresses.
I find very often, yeah, yeah, you go.
No, no, go.
Expresses
Go.
what? No, I was just going to say, people have often done a lot of work inside, like spiritual work or like here. Not necessarily physical work, but other kinds of work. But somehow it doesn't come through
Mhm.
because somewhere the voice is still blocked,
Yes.
even though you've done sort of mentally or seen a psychiatrist or something, and you know everything about your traumas and what happened. And then you have the somatic work or the physical work, which I find that is the most powerful because the voice is that kind of work, the voice work. And then you have, the spirit, the higher connection to your higher self. And I find that the voice is like there you sort of take your focus and the lens becomes focused basically, and you manage to bring it all out and bring it together. I think not so many people have discovered this. So that's a part of my mission. It's like the magical tool, the voice,
Yeah.
if you work with it in a certain way.
Yes,
You see,
absolutely.
I get all excited about
And that's
this.
exactly what I wanted to say, that the voice brings it all out, like your passion, your mission, that's where it all culminates, right? Like all the work that we are doing on ourselves. And I love what you said about, I'm sorry about your mother's loss, but it feels like that brought all the other traumas out so that in some ways, once we start experiencing something, it can lead us deeper into whatever needs to be resolved. And it's all patterns. Just as you noticed that when you started doing voice work, it affected your career, but it also affected your relationships. So when we have a holding pattern somewhere in our system, it shows up in all areas of our life.
Yeah, this I was so not aware of because
Mhm.
I thought, yes, here, as an actor, I do this and that. Okay, at home in certain, yeah, that was actually my the area where I found I was holding back and I
Yeah.
didn't have a voice for myself, basically.
Mhm.
And there's no wonder why I've been always obsessed with working with the voice. And now I understand it all after the having gone the whole circle
Yeah.
back to the deepest trauma. And but I thought, yeah, I know this pattern here, but there I'm not. But gradually, when you start to look into it, it is all kind of connected
It
to the
is.
root of the same trauma, and you have sort of built defense walls in different areas, different patterns, and suddenly, but it's feels like a never-ending story at
Oh,
some point.
it's
But it's very exciting.
it is very exciting, and the end is not the point, isn't it? The process
No,
of unfolding
it's
and
the
transformation.
process. Totally,
Yeah. And
totally.
I do a lot of work with healers and practitioners around visibility, and often there is a strong persecution imprint, sometimes from past lifetimes, that stops them from stepping out. But voice is such a big part of it. Like people talk about feeling seen, but actually feeling heard is such a big part of that picture. It's not just about, okay,
Absolutely.
here I am, I'm visible, but articulating what it is that you do and how you do it can be
No,
such
and
a big part of this process of becoming more visible and being seen and heard by the right people.
absolutely. And because you feel like you sort of mentally think I'm ready, and why don't I just step up and say it
Mhm.
or do it? And then it comes in all kind of hidden hidden patterns, and then you're like, what is this? I just had like 2 days ago a very interesting experience because I've done a lot of work, and I'm realizing more and more since I'm now working more from my core essence, let's say. And at some point, and I had, of course, the other parts of myself that were dealing with stuff and creating things and doing stuff. And with the healing process, you come closer and closer to yourself without the barriers. And I, I was doing this lecture, 20 minutes lecture I was posting about, and it was interesting. I had a long time to do it, and then for some days I've been like dropping out and being really tired. It's like extremely tired. It's like turned off and like, okay, I'll do this tomorrow and come back to it. And in the end, I won't go into details, but in the end, I was starting to think, okay, procrastination, is that a part of I'm not good enough?
Hmm.
I came across a meditation by Marisa Peer, and I was
Yes.
listening to it, like, and then I was like thinking, okay, is this something? And then I was actually talking to Chati, like, what's this? And I felt like this is coming up because I am about to do this big
Hmm.
20-minute lecture that will be brought out to the world.
Yes.
And I dropped into flow after having this talk to myself, and I did a 1.5 hour session working on myself on
Yes.
this with my parts working together.
Yes.
Then I finished. I had been like releasing tears and stuff, and was all like, and then after I'd done it, like, okay, I will just do it. Because I do a lot of in-person talks. I've done like a lot of workshops, and it's no problem. And it's very different when I have a person in front of me, because then
Hmm.
you're bouncing off and you're listening and you feel the energy. And and I am creating the space and the safety for myself. So this I've been building, of course, for years. But in this point, it was just, I realized afterward, is that this talk could not go out
Hmm.
to the world unless it was actually from my core essence.
Yes.
And there was still something I needed to cleanse out. Okay, we're talking about healing and stuff. So for some people, this might sound a bit weird. We could simplify it,
Not in my world.
but this is, that this is what happened. And then, okay, after I'd finished that, and then I was just like, okay, Thorey, just do it. I put up the studio here and got prepared. It's like there are 20 people. No, there's like the people are in the room in front of you. It's 20 minutes, and then I just stood up and did it. And
Beautiful.
because I can speak about this topic on the top of my head, I've done
Yes.
this for years, and I had been working, of course, and I had my little tickets with the memos and stuff. I put it all away, and I just stood there like, here I am, I'm talking to you. And then, okay, it was 30 minutes in the end, and I edited and put in some clips where I'm doing exercises out running or in the car.
Fantastic.
But it was, and I was like, there's still something there that needed to go.
But I always
But it's
say,
so interesting.
yeah, what's in the way is the way, right? Like the key is
Yeah.
to spot what is it. And then on the other side, this transformation of here I am talking to you.
Yes.
It
And
felt so
and what
palpable.
and here we are speaking the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was yesterday. I handed it in the morning after using the night before editing it. Exactly
Mhm.
20 minutes I had, and when I
Okay.
looked through it, I felt the purest joy that I felt ever for something I did, because that's also part of when you're always putting yourself down, which is related to some trauma. You're not good enough, you're shit, or whatever it is, the feeling is that you're never actually can't look at your work as like, you
Yes.
know, maybe sometimes, but and I felt this new joy of like, and I just saw what was there, and I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to say, and I'm happy
Perfect.
with it, and allowed
Perfect.
myself to be it, and I'm still am, you know,
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
but it's so exciting when it happens that you can feel that there is a little transformation,
Yes.
but yeah.
It's a wonderful note to bring this to a close because it feels like, yes, like just full embodiment of what you've been talking about. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for sharing with us. And
Oh, thank you, Gulara, for wanting to speak.
yeah,
So nice to see you,
it's a
meet you,
pleasure.
and
Yeah.
share this mutual interest of healing. Yes.
And so many different doorways, right? Like it doesn't really matter what doorway you come through, it all leads to the same place, to our core essence, something deep within that wants to come through, because that's what we're here for. And we discover it through different methods and different modalities, whatever speaks to people. And voice can be such a beautiful doorway. So thank you for opening that door to us today.
Okay, thank you, Gulara.
Blessings.
See you. Thank you.